Okay, so I don't know where I left off. Um, but as you can see, so I go through and I delete most, not everything, but like you can at least scroll through here, right? And don't worry too much about like my email. It's like a work email address. It doesn't really matter. So that's June. So then we go through the July and you can see I delete, and that's the whole purpose so I can get through this. Looks like I went through that, probably all of this. So I must be right here, I guess. We'll just go with this one.
So I'm like on my news channel, right? And, you know, my subscriptions.
And the only reason why I'm doing this is so that I can just delete it. And I did decide, there's things I really wanted to delete and not share because I was embarrassed by it, of course.
So I click on
Just
it,
remember,
right?
I was never going to share this with anybody. But I feel like,
so he's live talking, but
because of the nature of what's in here, I almost feel like it's not fair for me not to share it with people and to see what... If other people agree with me, that, well, I don't know. I just felt like you needed to know how stressed out I was and how much pain I was in. I feel like if I take it out, then you won't really understand what I was going through that much. You know what I mean? But trust me, I did want to take some of it out. But I also want you to get an accurate representation of what really happened that month. So
I go back and I'm refreshing, and it's just
that's why I went ahead and went with July. And I'm planning, I will get September out really soon, because that one's really important to me.
And it says Biden's going to be giving a speech soon, but it like didn't come up. And then like all these other things came up. Biden's going to be giving a speech soon, like within a couple minutes. So then all of a sudden I refresh, and this is only a matter of like a couple of minutes that I do this, and I refresh, and there's ABC News or MSNBC, and it's like, I go back, and Biden's been speaking for 7 minutes. It's like, okay, I just refreshed, and this wasn't here, and now you're saying it was, you know what I mean? So, and then Biden said the one thing I noticed in his speech already, which I didn't finish it, I just shut it off because I was like, this is too weird, I'm going to shut this off. Because Biden said, I want to say this is the first time America's never been at war with any country. I don't know what he's talking about. And then he went on to say, we got to make sure Putin doesn't something about Ukraine, and then, yeah.
I will keep fighting for my cancer moonshot, so we can end cancer as we know it, because we can do it.
This is David Pakman's show, live. President Biden addresses nation, drops out of presidential.
You know, I will keep working to ensure America remains strong, secure, and the leader of the free world. I'm the first president of this
yeah, I'm not living in a situation where I feel like I'm living in a free world, not gonna lie. And it's been 10 years of the same.
The United States is not at war anywhere in the world.
Yeah, see, these types of comments irritate me. I hate that. I just feel like, yeah, we are. Yeah, it's actually funded by U.S. tax dollars, so can we not say that anymore?
I'll keep doing the same for our allies in the Pacific.
This is so weird.
The conventional wisdom was that China would inevitably pass the United States. That's not the case anymore. And I'm going to keep working to end the war in Gaza.
My hand, I just feel so much. It's like I don't know why. I have like a lump right underneath that spot that you see. There's a lump under there. I have no idea why.
Since my inauguration. On that day I told you as I stood.
It just showed up. Like I just now noticed it like an hour ago.
Peril and winter possibilities. Peril and possibilities. We're in the grip of the worst pandemic in the century. The worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. The worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. But we came together as Americans. We got through it. We emerged stronger, more prosperous, and more secure. Today we have the strongest economy in the world, creating nearly 16 million new jobs, a record. Wages are up. Inflation continues to come down. The racial wealth gap is the lowest it's been in 20 years.
It's the highest it's been. What is this?
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Some of these protesters hold up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFC.
Gay marriage is still illegal in Israel. And one of their running gags on like Israeli TV is that gay people support Gaza and they actually make homophobic jokes on like a daily basis on their national.
I've heard about that.
Yeah. Israel's very homophobic state. And even then, homophobia doesn't justify genocide. Gay people can put our differences aside for like babies being bombed.
Don't they know that the land of Israel is where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob prayed? Where Isaiah and Jeremiah preached? And where David and Solomon ruled?
I'm gonna go make a cake.
Actually, good, because I'd like to eat a cake, so I usually make a cake.
For nearly 4,000 years, the land of Israel has been the homeland of the Jewish people. It's always been our home. It will always be our home. It's not only the campus protesters who get it wrong. It's also the people who run those campuses. 80 years after the Holocaust. 80 years after the Holocaust. The presidents of Harvard and I'm ashamed to say, my alma mater, MIT, couldn't bring themselves to condemn the calls for the genocide of Jews. Remember what they said? They said, it depends on the context. Well, let me give these befuddled academics a little context. Anti-Semitism is the world's oldest hatred.
So,
For centuries, the massacre of Jews was
the
always
last one, I appreciate, everybody got up and laughed, or not everybody, but you know, a lot of people got up and laughed, and I did appreciate that, the most recent one, where he held up those signs with the cursed and the, that was such a, that was so, I documented it over on my Facebook, but then I deleted it, so I can't share it with you, but, and I might go back to my, so I'm not having to push the button, like, constantly, I might go back to using my, well, I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, it doesn't really matter, but I'm not even sure I'm going to keep doing it, but I do feel like my conscience feels like I should upload this last few, it just seems like it's fair, and I feel like people should know, and I'm not going to delete, you know, I want, like I said before, even though I wanted to delete stuff, I feel like if I delete it, you won't understand how much pain I was in, or you won't understand how much anxiety I was dealing with, or that type of thing. And I feel you don't get the full context of what I was, you know, dealing with that month. So again, I was never going to share this with anybody. Really, truly, never. That I think people who know me know it's not my personality. I'm not an attention seeker. I do this here in the background because first of all, I want to document it somewhere. And this was actually really convenient. But it's like I also, like there's points I like sharing and making sure I've clipped them. I don't know. It would be great if people who work at these websites, you know, at these companies could gain some knowledge, like be a little bit more aware. That would be wonderful. I don't think that's happening. I'm not saying that. But I mean, I think that would be great.
So they're really chopping this up. Isaac had to tell me that this even happened today because it did not run through I did not see enough. I did not see enough.
My news feed seems very controlled. Like all of my digital social media, everything seems very manipulated. Like, and it's been this way for so long that I
put it in the news just like right now. Probably because they were like trying to like think people didn't know, I guess, because I didn't, because I wasn't paying attention. So anyways, they're not, so they're like, this is CNN. This is CNN, 14 minutes ago, 34 minutes, catch up on Netanyahu's speech to the Congress and analysis. The ones, the fake account, the ones that are fake.
So I'm also going to remember to put like rated her warning, just because I know it talks about subjects like that. So, and I cuss myself, and there's, you know, so I'm trying to be, you know, like kind of follow rules. I like rules myself. I like to be a rule follower. Looks like we just have a clip here. I'm not really sure why I can't remember. When I go back and watch this, even I don't remember myself. What I, why I have to, or I usually do remember. It comes back to me, but I don't know what's coming in.
Forcefully opposed the false accusations of the ICC and stood
Netanyahu
up for the
rebukes the
truth.
ICC and warns America will be next. Oh, that's why I shared it.
Dangerous.
Let's see.
The ICC is trying to shackle Israel's hands and prevent us from defending ourselves. And if Israel's hands are tied, America is next. And I'll tell you what else is next. The ability of all democracies to fight terrorism will be imperiled. That's what's on the line. So let me assure you, the hands of the Jewish state will never be shackled. Israel will always defend itself.
Yeah, well, nobody, in my opinion, this is schizophrenic. And, I mean, well, it's obviously, I don't have to be like, I don't have to be careful with my words. Why would I even? I mean, there's no reason to be. We're dealing with a war here. That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be flat feet Barbie for Halloween. Isaac got me the Birkenstocks, and I have a jacket. You got me a purse with this.
Here's Senator Bernie Sanders' reaction to Biden's speech, CNN, 4 minutes ago, 10-minute video.
There's a few things he wants to talk to her about, but honestly, he doesn't maybe need to endorse her because telling the world that she is not as liberal as he is maybe the best campaign statement that he could give to her right now when she is, of course, she has to shore up her base, but she really also needs
So this is looking like a defamation statement. How is Bernie not as...
Get the Bernie Sanders progressives on board while also
I think he just lost them all by that. Listen to what she says right here.
Now, when she is... There's a few things he wants to talk to her about, but honestly, he doesn't maybe need to endorse her because
Bernie Sanders doesn't need to endorse
that she is not
Kamala
as
Harris
as he is maybe the best campaign statement that he could give to her right now.
No,
Bernie's not liberal.
No, you're not. This is when they take it too far. They do this here, election year after election year.
That is going to be a challenge for her to get the Bernie Sanders progressives on board while also expanding the caricature being painted
We're on
as an
board.
San Francisco liberal and
Please stop
reaching
the
out
crap.
to get the collar counties outside Philly and on and on.
Again, there is a race now to define the vice president for the American people out there. And there are a lot of Democrats who are actually breathing a sigh of relief and doing the Trump campaign is rather flat-footed. The Senate candidate in Pennsylvania, Dave McCormick, put up an ad that cast Kamala Harris as a left of Bernie Sanders, or at least as left as Bernie Sanders liberal. The Trump campaign has not put any money on television yet. This is one of the challenges. Is she, in the 2020 campaign, when she was running to the left of Joe Biden to get the nomination, she came around to a number of Senate, where everybody in that campaign was moving. There are a lot of...
She came around. Wait, what did he say now?
Bernie Sanders liberal. The Trump campaign is not putting...
Wait, what?
Again, there is a race now to define.
That is going to be a challenge for her to get the Bernie Sanders progressives on board while also expanding the caricature being painted of her as an out-of-touch San Francisco liberal and reaching out to get the collar counties outside Philly and on and on.
Again, there is a race now to define the vice president for the American people out there. And there are a lot of Democrats who are actually breathing a sigh of relief and doing the Trump campaign is rather flat-footed. The Senate candidate in Pennsylvania, Dave McCormick, put up an ad that cast Kamala Harris as a left of Bernie Sanders, or at least as left as Bernie Sanders liberal. The Trump campaign has not put any money on television yet. This is one of the challenges. Is she, in the 2020 campaign, when she was running to the left of Joe Biden to get the nomination, she came around to a number of liberal positions that were not her. She had never spoken out in favor of the Senate. Well, everybody in that campaign was moving. There are a lot of Democrats saying, why did the Trump campaign drop a bunch of millions of dollars, even if it was crudely produced, just put her out there, boom. So that's part of the race. And that's, Senator Sanders, he's done this before. He's smart. He knows what he's doing here. You're right. He wants to get on her schedule. He wants to make sure that she understands. He has a great fundraising list. He has a great organizational list. He has a ton of power in places where she could use the help. And there are a lot of Democrats out there who love Joe Biden for kicking Trump out of the White House, but have kind of become demoralized and despondent even. There was despair before Sunday afternoon at does he have the vigor to do this? We can't let Trump come back. There is this, the small donor money is the best data point right now. As I said, wait a week or two for the polls. The small donor rush to Kamala Harris is the best data point right now that she has an opportunity. Again, smart Democrat I talked to yesterday said Sunday morning we have about a 5% chance of winning. Now we have about a 40% chance of winning. So, Democrats shouldn't rush to Vegas and bet the house, but they're in play now. That's the excitement. They think, okay, we have a chance.
Yeah, and the biggest saving grace, honestly, for Kamala Harris may be the fact that she did manage to avoid a divisive Democratic primary where she would have been put in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah, this was not, this statement is so inappropriate. Like, no, you're supposed to, if you want to be the president, you're kind of supposed to have to.
That was really interesting.
Yeah, and the biggest saving grace, honestly, for Kamala Harris may be the fact that she did manage to avoid a divisive Democratic primary where she would have been put in uncomfortable situation after uncomfortable situation. Struggle when she ran for president, even before that. I mean, I interviewed her back in 2018, and she told me that she thought that they should start from scratch. When I asked her if she wanted to abolish ICE, she pretty quickly cleaned that back up, and now that's something that's coming back into this campaign. She didn't have to deal with any of that, and instead she has an opportunity to meet with Bernie Sanders, and
how long has ICE been around?
Is
that something that should factor into the discussion about whether ICE should be abolished?
People I talked to at those rallies were white, working class men, many of whom were looking at Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump.
Is
it because he fights for them? It's not
freedom of rights or taking away of rights?
They might disagree with him on some things, issues-wise, but he shows up and he fights for them. Sherrod Brown faces the same test trying to.
So Kamala is probably, doing great because she didn't have to fight for her position. She didn't have to be felt uncomfortable.
That is kind of a ridiculous statement, in my opinion. That is my sassy attitude response. I admit it.
I guess that was the end of that one. Well.
President Biden's address to the nation caps a remarkable 3.5 days, which have seen the Democratic Party fall in line behind Vice President Harris at warp speed. Joining me tonight, Vermont Independent Senator and former Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders.
So this is July.
Somewhat more measured approach. And
July 2024, the month of.
You just heard President Biden.
I'm finishing up the month of July.
And at the end of it,
and there's what I'm going to be. Oh, and so this is, I had to get, remember I said I had to get antibiotics again. So it looks like Thursday, July 25th. So what happens in my situation, unfortunately, if my car broke down, is I have to get them, I have to have them mailed. So first she has to send them, then they do it. Then they have to mail them to me. So it takes me longer, but prescribed Friday, but don't get in the mail until Tuesday type of situation. My ear was still whooshing with pain 24/7, but was actually still technically improved. Doc said one more round of antibiotics. I have made a significant improvement in a time which doesn't always happen for me. Oh, I think maybe I did already do this now that I'm, well. Usually it doesn't. I think my situation until I get my top denture done, I need to always have an antibiotic. Yeah, I think so. That was so scary and painful. And I've been through this. I just can't, it's frustrating. I'm in the group of people who understand. I feel for you if you're going through this, and please feel for me as I suffer. Excellent Wi-Fi, brand new Wi-Fi extender that Isaac bought and installed for my room. Documentation. Oh, my internet access still off and on. 10 times or more. Yeah, it does this thing where it goes on and off, 10 times in a row, and it's not normal. I don't see how.
So I'm gonna say this.
That is not a normal way a phone acts.
Disprove it with every piece of absolute evidence. Absolutely right. Because trust me when I say this, Elon Musk.
What am I going to say? Oh, no.
Well, I don't know if he'll actually spend the rest of his life in jail.
This is because I was irritated about him, like the quid pro quo thing with Donald Trump. It just really, it's just blatantly, it's just brazenly, it's like, guys, come on.
If I was human trafficked in a doctor's office and did not give consent for an internal, a woman's exam, for a foot surgery, you can only sign. There's no way to consent.
So this is when all that weird stuff. Keep in mind. Remember, I said a whole bunch of weird, all of a sudden, all these articles came through about women getting exams in without consent. You know, that was what the article was about. And I had surgery, you know, on my foot recently, so that was just my automatic response.
Let's just hope that it can be proven 100%.
But it was weird to me at all. I mean, I think it was my point of bringing this up is like how random, like certain things come through my feed all of a sudden.
That's how you know it's not with my consent. I've never consented. This is looking
this didn't happen. This is not about
years ago. We need help. We're being human trafficked.
I'm not saying this to me about me and my situation. My point in referencing this is the women the article was referring to women that were getting like vaginal exams they never asked for during surgeries without consent. So I'm not talking about myself in my situation. I'm referring to these poor women as I'm hearing in these articles.
All these records are for public use, not for the police to decide. So is he saying it's a crime?
That's the reason why I don't care for the situation that's happening with Douglas County. The only outcome of giving people with money access to records that have lawyers before giving them to the actual people who are the people who are in those videos is only a situation where human trafficking happens. It only will lead to human trafficking. There's no other outcome when you let it be a money thing. If whoever has money and has access to a lawyer gets to have the records so that they can go cause harm to you, maybe, who knows what their other people's version of the story is always going to be different. So that's why everyone needs access to the records, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
8 hours ago, 80 views, 1 minute video, 1.5 minute.
Wants to reiterate this is only for patrol officers. It is not department-wide. And when it comes to the overtime, he says they won't pay overtime unless an officer works more than 40 hours in 1 week and unless they're required to go to court during their time off. He says they're actually expecting a decrease.
Chief Gary Klopfenstein, Roseburg Police Department.
Will maintain 24/7 coverage with the same number of officers. He says patrol shifts will no longer overlap unless necessary, and officers will stay until all essential work has been done. Now, in his letter, Hanlon also talked about how leadership played a part in recruiting and keeping officers.
Hanlon sent the letter out.
What the chief had to say.
Well, could he maybe hire like some office staff to like, is it because it's criminal? But who's the criminal?
Roseburg's police chief says they've had challenges when it comes to recruiting and retaining officers, so they instituted that 32-hour work week for patrol officers to help promote a better work-life balance. Now, last week, Douglas County Sheriff John Hanlon put out a letter.
Maybe the reason why you have a hard time keeping it in place is because they're getting fired, or you're getting sued, or they're getting murdered, or they're getting fired for bad. Maybe you should fire people that do bad work and hire good workers. Maybe it's that. I don't know, because when I call up there to Lane County Sheriff's Office, I don't have no problems getting the answer.
As we told you earlier this month, Roseburg's police chief says they've had challenges when it comes to recruiting and retaining officers, so they instituted that 32-hour work week for patrol officers to help promote a better work-life balance. Now, last week, Douglas County Sheriff John Hanlon put out a letter calling it a reckless policy change that feels unethical and wrong. One thing he was upset about, that officers would be working 32 hours but getting paid for 40, and that would equate to a 20% pay raise, making Roseburg police among the highest paid in the state. Plus, he said the police department would either have to hire more officers or there would be fewer police on the streets patrolling the neighborhoods. Chief Klopfenstein wants to reiterate this is only for patrol officers. It is not department-wide. And when it comes to the overtime, he says they won't pay overtime unless an officer works more than 40 hours in 1 week.
I think we got it. Oh, this is just proof that I was not saying my vote. But this isn't about, technically, this was about all the articles. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. I mean, if that did happen to me, that's gross and weird. I mean, I don't think that happened to me, but that would be really creepy. And you can see, okay, so, again, I gave a warning, like, a rated R warning for reasons like this so I can talk about topics like this. But can you imagine being a woman and then, you go to sleep and you're having a foot or you wake up and you didn't consent to a vaginal exam? You would feel, as a woman, though, that what it feels like when someone's been in there. So it's like you wake up with that feeling, which would give you massive anxiety. So that's why, from my perspective, there's never a time where it's never a good thing to do anything without anyone's consent or without someone's consent. Specifically, like, if you're doing something without their consent, then you're doing something wrong. If this person isn't consenting, and especially and doesn't know, you need to know that your behavior is predatory. Whatever it is you're doing, if you're doing it without consent and knowledge, it's predatory. That's what it means to be predatory towards someone, if you didn't know.
My view changed, and I started to become convinced that the pressure on Biden to step aside, the donors
That's David
bailing,
Packman. I'm not sure.
Pelosi bailing,
I'm about to go through a long thing
Obama
here.
behind the scenes saying,
dear.
I probably should be reconsidered. My analysis was simply, it's getting to where it will not be able to be ignored. And people like Nancy attack me for it and say that it is negative talk and that Biden was not going to be replaced. Well, he's been replaced. And my fear is that there will be a group of angry Democrats who now are going to choose to again punish the country because they don't
Here
think
we go
Biden
again
should have been
with this
removed.
crap. Remember, I just said they do this every election year, but David's one of the ones that, like,
make this mistake again. Okay?
he's a little bit sassy with his. If you notice, you'll notice David's a little bit too sassy sometimes. It's unwarranted.
Nick wrote me a beautiful message.
Why does he have a smirk on his face when he said that?
Hacker, you scumbag demon rats are so pathetic and predictable about things you do, putting signs in your yard, then trying to take out the absolute best president in history. Stay stupid.
Okay, so what were you telling me just now, Isaac,
Oh,
about
yeah, it's all
Rick?
this. That's okay. I could use. It's good to have multiple copies. You never know.
Actually directly told me so she basically, so I don't know like the logistics behind it or whatever, but basically she said that Rick either had or was trying to have the thing taken off of his record where you guys went to jail.
See, to not communicate with me about any of this, people are up to no good when they can't tell you. If they can't tell you the truth about what they're doing, if they're doing it without your consent or knowledge, it's criminal. It's predatory. And my
own sister.
That's why I have to do this, you guys, because people should know how bad some of us have it. Some of us are not in safe. Some of us are really getting, like, on my end, my family is, from my perspective, in my opinion, like, cult-like, so I get the hate from that, or, but my parents are, no one in, I can honestly say I think my parents might be the worst in my whole family towards, how their behavior towards their own children.
So I was like, but he was really rude to me, so that annoyed me. But I still,
there's a long history. I've been abused.
Yes, Asia was still here. Asia witnessed all. Asia was already awake. I was sleeping. She was awake in the living room. I was sleeping in my room.
People need to know about
he was in this room where I am now at the time.
Predatory history of my.
You guys started arguing or whatever.
No, that's not it. No, let me tell you. That's
like, I'm safe now. Don't. I actually don't feel like I'm in a safe place. I want to actually be really clear about that. I no longer feel safe here in this town, but I want to be fair and say it's not like immediate. I don't feel like I'm in immediate danger. It's more like ongoing predatory cyber stalking, that type of behavior that's ongoing. And why would they stop if they're getting away with it, why would they stop? So it's been like years of this trashy, hate crime type predatory behavior that I've been dealing with. And so I mean it in that way. I don't feel safe.
His own parents, he has a violent past, and so
this is true.
But nothing happened or whatever, and then you didn't even do anything. So I don't know what happened to the knife.
Do that, so I don't
Asia said the next thing that she saw was that Rick pulled you down by your hair and slammed you on the ground. And
my head slammed into the ground,
and then held you on the ground or whatever.
And it was like,
and then went around lying to all my family. See, if you gotta lie about what you did, and you gotta do things to people without their consent or knowledge, you might be a predator. You might need to get help and go get counseling for your women hating.
And that's when he got up and finally left.
Issues
and then
that are
I grabbed
ongoing.
the phone from Asia, which I never should have done. But I'm going to get into the argument more because it's way worse than you think it is. So I'm in sleeping. So Rick wants me to go get weed. So I'm like out of it and kind of annoyed that he's being rude. But at this point, it's like, whatever. I'm used to this kind of shit. So that's not even. So then I'm like, Rick, okay, I'll go get the weed. Guess what? So this is before there was a weed store. I had a card. I had a medical card for weed. It was approved. I had to go to the doctor. I had to pay. I had a legal thing. This is how it worked back then. It was not recreational weed at the time. And
it became right after, I believe, this situation. I went and Googled it, and I was like, oh, weird. I think it went wreck right after this. I don't know. Maybe you guys can look it up. I don't remember, but
so I'm like, Rick,
when I was Googling it, I was like, what?
I can't go. You woke. So then
which was 2016.
He's been rude to me. And I'm like, Rick, there's no
I believe
vehicle.
like March 2016-ish was when.
And guess what? It's raining. He's like, walk in the rain. I'm like, you want me to go walk and go get. For what?
When I had to go as a victim after being beaten up to jail, and I got put in a funny, what do they call that jail cell? The crazy cell, the padded cell, because I yelled at the cop all the way there because the cop observed it because he shouldn't have been participating and causing harm to women that just got beat up. But since you wanted to be a dick, now history went down. That went down in history.
I don't care. I'm in my bedroom.
So to speak.
They shouldn't be listening in. Shame on them. Anyway, so he's literally like, you go to the store. So I'm explaining to him that even if I walked in the rain and got the money, there's no vehicle for me to go get weed. How do I take money with no car? Do I get on a stick and walk? He was so mentally ill, he couldn't comprehend that there's no vehicle. Yeah. He could not comprehend that there was no way for me to go do it.
Comprehension was gone.
And he wanted it right now.
He was
right now. So it was like I was dealing with somebody who was logically not
there.
But that's all what I was talking about. That's what he was having, or trying to have.
Well, that's what I've seen. This dude's not going to calm down. He's not even comprehending logic. That it's raining.
I don't even know if that's a thing. It's just what grandma told me. She might have.
Asia, you weren't here for that part. Asia's seen all of this part. Asia's seen all of this part. So.
Yeah, I was there.
Asia was in the living room already awake. Asia unfortunately witnessed all this, which is what pisses me off about all this. And why all this, about the way the police officer handled it is very wrong.
I believe the story because details of the story match up with
and
what
I think we also...
documented it back then. It's documented.
When did we get cameras?
We don't lie to each other. That's just not a thing. Me and my sister do not lie to each other.
Actually,
Grandma, when she picked me up, she was laughing. Asia was so upset. She brought me my makeup bag. She knew my tweezers. She knew I was going to be upset. Grandma was
laughing. Google it real quick, but...
In the moment. I was and someone had just, because I was on the street, had to use somebody's cell phone. Thank God somebody let me use it. They were literally laughing, but I don't blame them because what would you do if some lady standing outside a jail cell needs to use their phone to call her parents to come pick her up from the jail? I would laugh too. So I wasn't even like, I got it. Like, I didn't care, But Grandma came, and then Grandma was sitting there laughing. And I was like, yeah, this is my whole life story. You think it's funny that I was just attacked, and I had to go to jail along with my abuser for attacking me. You think this is funny. It's not funny.
This behavior,
in the moment, I just
Rick's behavior, aggressive behavior, has been an issue the whole time.
That's true.
And
so
it's a very abusive, aggressive. Like you can't have a conversation because it's aggressive. Like my points don't matter. I'm not. It gets very aggressive. It doesn't become. It no longer becomes a conversation. You know what I mean?
Or he was working on. Grandma told you.
So that's why there's none of that really. There's not a lot of that anymore because it was so. When Rick was going through his divorce, those 3 years where he peed everywhere and he was just mentally ill.
Expunged from his record or something.
But it was the aggressive behavior. It was,
But yeah, I don't know. She says there's a lot of things that she tells me that I overhear, that I see her typing on her phone.
You need to tell me.
She doesn't realize that that I witnessed her doing She doesn't realize that I see her manipulating situations.
Yep.
And
my whole life.
Like texting her sister lies about you and me.
My whole life.
And dramatizing situations or just trying to make her
See, now you have someone else who's
to
saying
be
it,
like
not
a
just me
victim
saying
when
it.
she sometimes isn't even like involved in certain situations.
Well, you were telling me she writes really big, so you're seeing the
writes really
text
big
on her phone, and you told her, Grandma,
So
I can
it's
see
like
what you're
not
saying.
really. I'm not really like trying.
Her.
I'm not really like I'm not like over her shoulder. Like, what does she do? Like, I'm not invading her privacy. But when her phone, when the words on her phone are like that big, because she enlarges the text so she can see it, and then I see my name like multiple times, I'm kind of like, and
what
she's like texting all hyphy, and so I'm like, what are you kind of? What's up?
Yeah.
It's so
that's natural.
And so I like kind of maybe like, you know, low key peeked a little, and she was full on texting her sister lies about you and me, and because I don't even remember what happened, because there's so much fucking shit happening.
I've listened in on these conversations.
My brain's melting at this
I stood
point.
outside the door and listened, and I was just in awe at my mom's ability.
But she also did this. I remember like just it was like maybe a few months ago. She was lying about me to Jackie, her friend Jackie, and like dramatizing another situation, trying to make herself out to look like this victim. When I mean, like, I'm not saying like she's not a victim. I don't think she's a victim. We haven't personally done anything to her that I would consider victimhood. Like, I'm not trying to like invalidate her, but what I will say is like the things that she shares with her sister and her friend that I've noticed are sometimes not true, mostly not true. And I remember I kind of called her out on it, and I was like, Grandma, you know that's like lying and manipulating, which is something that you're constantly preaching about, lying and manipulating, but then I'm constantly catching you lying and manipulating.
Lying is disturbing.
When arguments happen inside, she will lie and manipulate to make it seem like she didn't do anything wrong. Or like me and her sometimes will argue in the house and no one else will be in the room, and then Grandpa will come in the room and she will literally lie or manipulate to try to make me out to look so crazy, like she wasn't being totally inappropriate. Like this woman's known for doing and saying things that are completely inappropriate, but it's for some reason unbelievable to them that while they were not in the room and they did not witness it, there's no way that she could be inappropriate towards me when she has a history of doing things like going through other people's stuff without asking, to the point where she is getting rid of and or burning other people's property.
This is a long history. This has been a problem for a long time.
Yeah, and then to the point where she's when you were gonna divorce Dad, she like took Dad out to the lake and like spoiled all your plans and like ruined your plans for nothing, just to
told her privately in private. And my mom was behind my back.
Just really doing it completely out of pocket, inappropriate, meddling with people's lives, getting rid of people's personal property,
inappropriate.
Just stuff like that. So it's and
she's very.
She won't talk to me about any of these things she said.
Me and Grandma have good days.
She will not let me talk to her. She'll call the police. I'm gonna call the police.
Me and Grandma have good days where we do get along and we have common interests, and I cherish those days. But more often than not, she is literally bullying me.
A ball of nerves,
and it's
just
like
all the time.
She's bullying me or policing me.
Yeah,
and
it's a control.
It's difficult.
I repeat back to her, this is a control issue, not a. Whenever she tries to say it is, I'm like, well, don't you think that's just being controlling? You know, and then she's always like, that's not controlling. I'm constantly reminding her that's you being controlling. That's not. This is not necessary. You don't need to know who I'm talking to or where I'm going. I'm just like, you just need to. I'll be polite. So it's me constantly having to remind her that she has issues with boundaries and doesn't respect other people's boundaries.
Yes, I'm constantly asking her to.
But it's a lifetime. If it's a lifetime, then it's a condition.
Just last
it has
week,
to be a condition.
Literally just last week, I asked her to respect my boundary when it came to my laundry, and she laughed in my face and rolled her eyes. And I said, Grandma, I think that's kind of rude.
Well, you buy Vivian Westwood and things, so you're very careful with your things.
I told her that I
just
buy
come get
clothes that cost a lot of money sometimes.
Right.
When I do my laundry, I need to do it myself because some of this stuff is precious. Like, it's like vintage and like stuff like that. She goes out of her way, I feel like, almost to disrespect that boundary.
I know that you're gonna be like, yeah, right, but no, this is a lifetime of,
you were at the pool
like, for real,
it's like,
her
well,
going out of her way
Hannah
to cause problems.
Tell me that
it's
you had moved
an
my
ongoing
laundry, so
issue.
you knew Hannah was
It's been a
home.
lifetime of it.
And then
I think it is helpful for people to know.
It's never being able to confront her about her behavior.
It's something I previously already
Kind of a situation where I could use a little bit of extra help, you guys.
So I just asked her. So and then but at the end of the day, I didn't even care about that anymore. What I cared about was the fact that when I brought it up, she laughed at me, rolled her eyes, and was extremely dismissive. And I'm just tired of that. I said, Grandma, I'm a person, and you don't treat me like a person.
She's been dismissive of everything, everything, and it's things that are like,
feelings matter. Feelings are
atrocious.
feelings.
And then, of course,
we're allowed to have
everything,
feelings.
it turned into like an argument, and then Grandpa got into the room, and then because Grandpa wasn't there, and because she knows that Grandpa wasn't there, and she knows that Grandpa gets stressed out easily, and that he will just kind of listen to her to end the thing or whatever, she lies, and she tries saying like all this crazy shit to the point where like she gets her husband so riled, and then I'm done with it, and then she has to continue it to the point where she gets her husband so riled up that he tries to hit me with a metal bat.
I know. And she always says
and
it's
I have
us.
to call
It's
the
like, no,
police
lady,
and
it's
stuff.
you. It's you.
And then I leave the room and I have to call the police and stuff, and they're still trying to, and then they're gonna, who knows what they told the police. I asked the police, like, what did they say?
That's why access to these records is really important for people like us who are dealing with a situation. What are they saying? Are they defaming us? Is this going to be a situation where police are basing this off absolutely defamatory information? That's why we deserve access to those records, and we're supposed to have them, so I can file a report saying this is not true, this is blah blah blah, but since I can't have access, I don't know what there's, you know what I mean? It kind of ruins your whole purpose of a police station when you're not cooperative with giving everyone equal access to the records. It leads to human trafficking is what it does, and that's going to be provable. I also think it's not legal, honestly.
They argued with him. So the police told me that they argued with him, and I personally, because they already gave me the same argument, so I know that their argument was, well, it's our house, so we can literally kill him if we want to.
I don't know if they realize they're like not making a very good argument.
And so the police told him that's not an appropriate reaction, and then and then before he left, he just said, if they try doing anything like that again, to just call him, and they'll be down immediately.
Right. Well, that's why you gotta document, get the record. It's kind of a whole process, but I'm really used to it.
I'll call him. I'll call them.
Yeah. Well, we documented. Thank you for helping me document. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I don't know.
We could do it. We can only handle so much at a time.
I said, Donald, the funds running out. And without hesitation, he said, your son doesn't recognize you. Let him die and move to Florida. Were you surprised? It's a great question. My response was, no, Donald, he does recognize me. And said, oh, thanks, and hung up. Was I surprised? I don't think you could hear something like that and not be surprised. But that is what he has become. It's sad. There's a chapter that you write about called the race card. What's that about? I was about 10 years old, and I was at my grandparents' house, like I was a lot. And Donald, I could hear him screaming. And
Good morning, America.
I went down to the driveway of my
41 minutes
house.
ago, 5.5-minute video.
Eldorado convertible.
Fred Trump
with
III talks new memoir, All in the
And
Family.
he had electrical tape because the roof was black. And he used the N-word twice, just saying who he thought probably had done this.
You were 10 years old when these comments were allegedly uttered.
Right.
See how he used the word allegedly?
Oh, absolutely. He says he doesn't use the word. Okay, he did twice that day.
I'm gonna bring this up in a minute about my confusion on news medias and their ability to use that word so selectively. And I'm about to show you in a minute.
Is he a racist? You don't necessarily answer it, right? Is he a racist? He at times espouses things that people who I
don't know what I
racist
don't remember.
espouse. That's the best I can answer that question.
Say more.
I don't believe he's a racist. I think that he uses people, whether they're black or they're whoever can help him, he will use them. I don't believe in that. He uses them as props, and when he gets what he needs out of them, votes, he'll cast them aside.
In a statement
right up here. Why don't they use the word allegedly?
In total fake news of the highest order, it is appalling. A lie so blatantly disgusting can be printed in media. Anyone who knows President Trump knows he would never use such language, and false stories like this have been thoroughly debunked. Now, Fred Trump told us he's voting for Kamala Harris, but if his uncle wins, he would attend the inauguration, if he's invited. All in the Family, the Trumps, and how we got to be this way is out today, George.
Okay, Aaron, thanks for having me.
At what point does the word allegedly need to be used? So, Donald Trump says, according to Donald Trump's campaign spokesman, Steve somebody, it said in the name, it was a Steve somebody, hang on, I'll get there. Donald Trump, yeah.
Sorry, I hate it when I do that. I get sick pretty often, so it's like...
Steve Chung, Trump Campaign Communications Director. So, my point would be, you know...
Campaign said this is completely fabricated and total fake news of the highest order. It is a...
President Trump, who's not the president right now, so previous President Trump, who's been impeached twice, knows they, and you know, found guilty for rape and all that kind of stuff. So, that guy says that these are false stories have been thoroughly debunked. You mean allegedly? Donald Trump says they've been thoroughly debunked allegedly. Because how do you not have to use the word allegedly? Donald Trump says it so you don't have to use the word allegedly anymore? Donald Trump is now saying that it's been thoroughly debunked. Thoroughly debunked by who? You and your campaign manager? Your spokesman campaign manager? Did you, because you've got your Fred Trump III there saying something totally different. So it was thoroughly debunked.
Wednesday, July 31st, human trafficking is extremely strong, allegedly. That is very true.
So, you know, like in the, movie, the movies. Let me just start this, oh my god. So, I just want you to know, my brother said to me he don't mind helping me. And just yesterday, he doesn't mind helping me. He doesn't mind. You guys, he doesn't mind. Rick doesn't mind helping me. Hey, everybody. Rick doesn't mind helping me.
You can take your help and shove it right where the sun don't shine. This guy. If you know the history. Oh, you need to know the history. It's too funny.
So, anyways, you guys. Oh, Armageddon's coming, and it's coming soon. Armageddon's coming, and it's gonna be here pretty soon for some people.
Those are jokes. We all, if you've grown up the way I grew up, we all have those little.
Imagine if my ability to sustain life is dependent upon my human traffickers dying by any means, murder.
Is this right? Is this one of the times where I've had it and I'm irritated?
Your human traffickers are going to have to be murdered or die, essentially.
That is kind of a good point, though. It's like,
and then you'll finally be able to have
I'm about to do one where I go through all the law codes, and people in duress, you can actually, like, if you're in duress,
you paid for it, you can have a life, you can do
you have a right to get out of that situation, and unfortunately, if something were to happen, I mean, I just want to encourage. I don't like when we see those articles where a woman who was a victim was like charged for, that's crazy town. We don't want that here, not in Oregon. Yeah, so just keep in mind that when you're in this account, you don't have my consent, and I don't. It's not my consent or knowledge. So if that's happening, and I like, ton of evidence it is.
People are asking the FBI to please do their jobs and conduct the human trafficking cases. Please
investigate why this is happening to me and
jobs.
Why caseworkers are engaging in predatory false reporting for 10 years in my case. Can we find out why? And now they don't want me to have the right. I mean, my case is particularly egregious, and I'm sure people can see that because I've at least gotten to a point where I've been able to share a lot of important records that prove.
The human trafficking ring, people participating in it who work for, like Douglas County Sheriff's Office or police, Roseburg Police, or Douglas, is it District 6? District 6. For Department of Human Services. So you can either participate in helping the FBI, who are now coming down here because of a 10-decade-long human trafficking case.
I'm looking forward to sharing
multiple victims,
September. Wait, is it July? September, because
I do.
It shows a lot of articles of caseworkers.
By people in Douglas County.
You become more. I was like, I'm not imagining. These caseworkers are totally okay with breaking the law. They don't. It was article after article after article. So I was like, oh. So I look forward to sharing that with people because
and I'm in a cult
I
and
want
human
people
traffic my own family members. Bonnie
yeah, I mean, you have to admit that that's quite
because they're saying
that's a real coincidence, right?
They're gonna have their ability to stop the human trafficking isn't gonna happen until they're dead.
It could stop right now, but no, you don't want to, be not predatory. So it could all stop right now, right? That's fine with me. Let's all just stop doing it. Let's all just stop abusing women and lying about them and predatorily stalking them, cyber stalking them, falsely reporting about them, talking shit to their kids constantly. My kids are talked, they only hear constant negativity about me for.
So I'm actually asking for the FBI to help.
Yes, and I think I do need to call soon. I do have a bunch of calls to go. I'm, planning to call the police about tons of questions.
Could you please?
But I wanted to get through
and yank a few lawyers right the fuck out of there. You need to get your asses down there.
I'm obviously pissed. I'm like, cover up the word.
And I have plenty of reasons why. Who thinks he's a federal judge? Sometimes I hear.
Oh, you know what? I could talk more about this because this is a weird situation.
Where I'm being asked for
but I won't talk about it here. I'll talk about it with the FBI
when I'm seeing BJ, that surprise witness who gets videos.
Yeah, that was what I couldn't.
Donald Trump, the president. She's getting video evidence.
So we can't even get videos in Douglas County of our own police sheriffs unless I have a lawyer. But BJ can get the president one? That to me was like wild.
I don't know what you're talking about unless there's a crime.
That was I remember that moment. I was like, that is wild.
Asses down here to Douglas County and yank. You have people with licenses that are calling themselves lawyers that are participating in a human trafficking ring.
I believe that's true.
They don't want to give us our public records.
Yes, and that's how this happened, by denying us access to our records. It's the same with Department of Human Services. It's like a co-conspiracy type situation that only leads to human trafficking, which is now provable through my case. Keep that in mind. It is provable through my case. You're going to want to go back 10 plus years. Yeah, I might be losing it.
Okay, so this is documentation. So I called a lawyer's office, two of them, Andrew Johnson's office.
It was the guy we were just talking about. Who?
I feel like it was like Christopher or somebody like that. Anyways, so this is shocking to me.
I remember when this is when I was trying to figure out, like, why can't I get the videos? Like, what is going on? How come BJ can get, presidential videos of the sheriff wearing his camera?
I can't answer any questions. I can't answer any questions. Do I need to
call the FBI for you, lady, or
Johnson's office,
I don't know if my number, it's the same number from before.
You're not a lawyer, and by
when she kept hanging up on me repeatedly when I was trying to report to them about stuff from a case that was my cousin's case that they had, that they would not listen to me. And that, I think, is going to be interesting later when all this comes out.
You can't answer a question if you've ever heard of the sheriff's office requiring a subpoena for video camera. You can't.
We can't answer questions. We don't answer questions. That is, and it was almost like she said it almost was like this weird.
What do you mean?
It was weird. I noticed that it was awkward.
What do you mean? It's possible that there can be an opposing party to public records. What are you talking about? So I didn't say that to the woman. I'm just saying the woman said that to me. So my mind goes, you mean? So I'm thinking back to when Beth couldn't get her video.
Yeah, I'm not the only person who has suffered from this. In my own family, we've had our kids have been, after winning court cases, immediately taken from us and not given back. And the DHS people acted like, cool, that's cool. So that's all probably going to be really interesting now that we're.
For human trafficking, for fucking up people's. You're not allowed to be like, I work at the Douglas County Sheriff's Office as a record keeper, but I don't care about your requests. I'm not going to answer any of these.
Yeah, that went on for years for me in my case.
If I can call up to Lane County and I can be like, I just want my records and I want to pay my $45 for my record and that's it, and that's how easy it is, and I don't have to get a lawyer.
I love that about Lane County. Why doesn't it work that way? What the fuck is going on in Douglas County
where they're trying to make us get subpoenas for records that are public access records?
Yeah, it's causing harm, like Gray agreed, like, so I get to be pissed. There's nothing wrong with being pissed about that. And that would be the opposite. I called along with Andrew Johnson's office, which was good, delay. She can say I don't answer questions. That's fine. But she was like, I don't answer questions. And hung up. Like, okay. But then this woman was a little bit more helpful. And she's like, well, is there an opposing party? She was like, the one from Christopher W.'s Peterman's office was a little bit more helpful when I called. And she explained to me, she's like, well, is there an opposing party? And she's like, we look out to... Anyway. She was helpful, but all these ladies can be subpoenaed to answer questions about talking cases, and that would involve an opposing party to public access records, such as sheriff video of house visit. There can be no such thing as opposing parties to access what is supposed to be public records. Yeah, I feel like that's unconstitutional. I honestly do think it's unconstitutional. The records lawyer is supposed to be answering questions and giving quotes for records. Yeah, not to be personally involved in reasons why citizens aren't getting... Yeah, you're not supposed to be doing that. That's not supposed to be happening. So, I'm not sure how much longer this is going to go, but this is the end. This is the last day. Hang on here. Oh, this is going to be a long one.
As you can see.
Oh, no, it's a super long one.
Yeah, this is like...
Oh, this is like a whole freaking... Oh, my gosh. What do I say here? What am I saying? That's where I get my feelings out again.
So, it's almost like Ashley just isn't dead to me. You know what I mean? Like...
Oh, are we talking?
It's the same way with
this is
I don't know how my brain.
July is a bad like that month. Month of
July,
and then August. Now with
because death has been so.
Christopher. So there was, there's all these memories of like.
I can't believe what I'm trying to talk, but I can't talk because
old anniversary was July 4th. Ashley died July 12th. Christopher.
I don't know what you'd call this feeling right now. It's pissed off, but like shocked.
So like I must be having my moment where I'm like. That moment,
Like, she died, okay, by slamming a car into a semi-truck, and it was on the news, and
that was so hard for me back then.
Called me,
I hated that.
She was like,
Bonnie did that because she said, "Oh my God, it's on the." I haven't even told I haven't even told people. Just like if she sees this on the news, so I appreciate it. Yeah, it would have.
Shane and I were still technically married, at the time, and still sleeping in the same bed at night during that time. And Ashley and I had just
we got divorced right. I've been trying to leave for a long time. There's a whole lot more to the story than.
Got to a fight saying it was the pills were upsetting me, and someone.
Back then, everybody was like on pills, but she was like, it was too much. I mean, I was worried about her. I think a lot of people. She's probably worried about herself.
Oh my God, I'm so.
That's why I just can't. Like, even though I have pain, I just don't. They've tried to put me on the pain pills, and I've just refused because I don't.
2012, right?
It's everything I saw from those people.
It was going to be our 16th anniversary.
I don't know if it's because of the,
that year, or I don't know. It stopped at 16. I was married for 16 years. Whatever. I don't know. Anyway, this whole thing is coming full circle with the records. So Ashley, we moved to Eugene for a while, and Ashley came and stayed with me, and she was just traumatized when she got there. She was like, you have to remember, I knew her for, years at this point. We didn't spend a ton of time, but, like, Shannon's used Ashley's grandma, who Ashley lived with, for daycare. And they paid, I think some of it was even paid through the state, because Shannon worked, type of thing. So that's how come everybody knew. Like, she was telling me about this kid with asthma that she watches. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my nephew. I think I know who you are. We were like tripped out. We're like, oh my gosh. She's like, oh, I know who your sister. Anyway, so we kind of were just like instant friends because there was a connection when we met. I think that's maybe why. But it was, no, it's also because our personalities were a lot alike in the way that we both were like caring moms, and like, I've seen other moms just let their kids just walk, go walk to the store a mile away, no big deal. It's like, I could, when they were kids, like 6, and I could never do that. So, people just have different, there's nothing illegal about it, by the way. These are my nieces and nephews and Shane's sisters, or just that way with their kids, and I just couldn't ever be that way. But it's a parenting style, and their kids grew up and they're fine, you guys. They, well, I don't know if they're fine. We don't speak anymore, but I mean, they're not dead. That's what I'm trying to say, as far as I know. They did grow up to be adults. So it is just about parenting style. And so Ashley and I had that in common. And I did realize that was a rare quality. I knew that was a rare quality, not all your friends. I could not trust I didn't trust people with my kids. I just, obviously, good parent. Wouldn't, in my opinion, but... So she was one of those people, like, she could take my kids to the park, and, like, I knew my kids would come back okay, and she would watch them, and it was like, she was one of those only people that I had that type of relationship with. It's just her slamming herself. So we all say car accident, but it was, like, obviously suicide. And I still
don't know
that.
I don't know that.
It's not logical to think
I do
she's still
feel
alive.
there's such a sequence of events that is just
she's not around. What
disturbing in
reason
all
would
of
she
this.
have to, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense. I know that. But the pain was so bad for me at that time, and it wasn't just that she died. It was that, I got divorced after 16 years, and it was the way my husband treated me after that, and the way the kids. I didn't think it was going to happen to me, and it did. You know what I mean? And then the way the police and the way the Department of Human Services worked together, it was just... okay, so right before we moved back down this way, we were all in Eugene, and Ashley lived with us for a while. And so did my sister. So it's not like it's just my work. My sister can speak to much of this part of my life. But she was saying things, the things she said to me, I'm just like in awe at how full circle my brain is right now. So 2012, so we're talking like 12 years later since her death, which was a car accident / she slammed herself into a fucking semi in her vehicle, which is not fucking normal. A week after we went camping together, and I put those pictures, I can't even, that's why the the account's still there, but like I don't use, Facebook is just for documentation. There's no reason for my family members to, I'm not using it, I'm not interested in being on it, it's just there to like put documentation. Because what's happening to women in Roseburg, what I saw, it's so bad, but it's like, oh my God, Ashley was saying, no, it's Roseburg, I can't, these people are stuck up. These people treat me like shit everywhere I go, and I'm like, that can't be possible, right? And then it happened to me, and I am shocked. And I thank God had the access to this technology and cameras. And by the way, my cameras did not work for a long time. I know I've already documented that, but it took me forever to get through this case to even be able to have my cameras work and be able to upload through YouTube. None of that was happening. 2016 was so bad for me.
Go to the next one.
To be honest with you, it doesn't make sense to me that I had that much issues. It never made sense to me that my phones wouldn't, like, upload a 2-minute video, but maybe that's where everyone was at in 2017. I mean, it didn't make sense to me. Then how come how come we have YouTube videos then, right? Like, it didn't make sense to me, but anyway. So she kept saying, like, no, when I take the kids to school, man, they treat me like it.
Yeah. Ashley was complaining about this to me for years.
I just
about
think about how,
behavior.
you know,
and
now
I
you can
totally know
back then we didn't pay attention to politics.
Completely
I mean, I
know
knew
what
a
you mean.
little bit, and she brought up stuff, and she did name her daughter Kennedy, her youngest, but
it's kind of weird to hear myself talk about it. I need to plug
and
it
she
in.
taught. Remember, I told you know. Well, I documented this one. I don't know why I'm saying remember. I told you, like I'm talking to someone. Anyway, she taught me how to be more, because I grew up in a, Jehovah's Witness and everything, and I look at the issues my parents have now. I'm so glad I'm not that person anymore. I'm so glad I moved away from the cult. I'm so glad I got out. Look at what happened. It took me, look at where I'm at right now, and it's been this long, and holy fucking shit, is it hard to pull away from that. I mean, the attacks just come from everywhere in Douglas County, from everywhere. But when you're in Lane County, Ashley said she could see a literal difference. We're talking about Department of Human Services. We're talking about, I'm like, really? Like, but then I got on food stamps once when I was up there in Eugene, because, the whole me and Shane splitting up, me and my ex-husband splitting up thing was so going to happen. People didn't realize, like, that was real. I was, like, trying to get out, but... which should show in the records too before 2012, by the way, guys. There should be records that kind of also prove, like, you can see how I was, like, trying to get away, and me having to be on food stamps with that kind of income should have been a dead sure sign. Excuse me. Like, he was the money, I was very good with money. Look at where I am now. Look, I'm still good with money. This was always a problem with our marriage and why I couldn't be married. But to be here right now, and, like, where I understand politics, and to see, now I know that Ashley kept saying that, but nobody understood politics. You know what I mean? Not the way we do now. We didn't talk like that in 2012, okay? I think a lot of people didn't, right? So, the world has changed completely since 2012. Like, shockingly amount. The things I can see that are different are just, like, blow my mind. Like, I'm just, whoa. But... to be able to see the things she said, know the people that commit suicide that come out of that area, there's, like, a lot of suicide, and then be able to actually track, no, these people are Trump people, this is Republicanville. Even though we live in Oregon, it is liberal. You could track that in Lane County. You can see the numbers. But to be able to actually say, no, these are the things Ashley said in 2012 and the 10 years before that.
And just look at all the videos I got. I told my cousin Beth, I said, Beth, I got to do something about this. I got to get some kind of, this is so bad.
We met that year.
I can't.
She had
I told her a year ago I was going to do this. Or maybe it was 2 years ago. And now look at all the recordings I have. Look at how much farther I've come.
Or something like that. Anyway.
To prove the predatory
So we were just at that stage in our lives, and we just clicked, and I already told you,
the predatory false reporting, which I believe has caused terroristic, people like me are being terrorized.
Just think back to that whole,
because of false reporting.
And that's,
like, you're hearing that in the news, by the way. Recently it said, I should play that.
It's Republicanville, then full circle, like, no, I mean, like, see it in the way that I understand as far as the numbers, right, and what she said, and just be like, whoa, and then you can kind of see my situation with having to be asked to switch to Cottage Grove, but like they did better, but like she should have explained to me then, like, hello, but she didn't.
Yeah,
so
they didn't explain anything. They wouldn't answer. It was my experience was like
is really important, so people in society see.
It was abusive.
We're not getting the help we need because we're being attacked, and you're
shockingly, like, I got a report to the FBI.
So we don't need to be asked. If somebody comes up to you and wants to talk to you about my social media account, you need to say we don't participate in that. That would be cyber stalking someone.
Right. That's what the case was supposed to do.
So the person who's trying to get you to participate in it, like, instead of participating. So here we are with I keep saying remember like I'm talking to, like, this is me. Sorry, I said I'm going to talk this out because I don't know. This feeling is a weird feeling. I don't know how to explain it.
It's all about this is the part, you know.
To be at, like what Ashley said with the sheriff's office.
Have that moment where I reflect on.
Oh my God, here I go again. Anyway, remember I have a dumb brain. That's what you need to remember.
No, I don't. I need to be nice to myself.
You know, she got the pills. Legally, it was like doctors were prescribing.
Yeah, I don't want people to think
excess back then. I think that was probably something we all kind of know now.
That, true.
About those
the
times.
Doctors prescribed those pills and those excessive pills to her.
So remember, she's not like a friend who was doing this. It's not like I could hit. You know, I just knew. I could see in her that it was bad. I could just, and what the pills were doing, and. I liked him too, but I liked being a mom a lot more, and my kids
you know, I mean, like, I'm in pain, they wanted to prescribe them to me, and
I never got into any of those habits,
like, you know what, no,
directly forever, for a long time,
no,
never
and I still
happened to
say
me,
no.
But that's also because I'm really satisfied with my life of being a mom, and I love my kids,
vape
and
on my pen, light use.
Even though my husband was crappy, I was just happy
is better because I can't, you know, my asthma,
even the depressive
it has
times,
made a
like,
difference, a significant difference.
My kids make me happy, I love being a mom, yeah, it's satisfying, I'm fulfilled by it, I am at a point where I understand that I don't need a man, I just want one, but I definitely love that I'm at a point where I know I'm happy without it, which is something you need, you know, I wasn't. I thought I think a lot of people, when they get married young or married for 16 years, that's hard to learn to be single. That is hard, because, you know, you've never not had that. It's a weird feeling to go from a kid, in a kid brain, 16 to be married, 16 years later, divorced, that puts me at 32, right? So, yeah, and I'm going to be 45 this year. So 13 years ago, got divorced, and as you heard, if you listen to the video, you hear my son bring up my mom telling him, you can see how it was the times were pretty women getting shat on, and shat on, and shit on, and shit on, and shat on, and shit on, and shat on is just
it's blatant. It's.
And I keep trying to say this. So now we're back to the records. And now I see, like, there's no problem getting a record for, like, a video.
Disturbingly abusive.
Just from me, from 2012 when all this started, trying to understand this process from 2012, so for 13 years. No. Wait, 10, 12. Well, I guess we're getting there. Anyway, and look at where I'm at. I couldn't get records. This is weird that they treat us this way and think it's normal to treat people like, yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, it's constant.
It really wasn't until this last
in Douglas
month.
County. I'm serious, and look at how what I've been able to document. I knew. You remember going into this when I got my divorce.
My brain was just spinning until I heard all those articles, all those cases were caught doing all these. Wait until you hear what's coming up. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not.
Obviously, it was suicide.
I'm not crazy. These people are that abusive in these positions of power. That is fucking disgusting. You're going to be fucking disgusted when you guys see all this shit.
It's really not for anyone else.
But you need to know. I have to share this with people.
I need to force myself to recognize that this matters.
I mean, if that's the one thing I can do is make other people...
Documentation matters a lot.
All the horrible shit I've been through.
I can't believe I have to do this to make it happen, but whatever, if it works, right? Keep doing it. I get it. I need to keep doing this because I myself can see the changes
by doing
start
some very,
I can see the changes even within the Department of Human Services where we can access getting our own records.
It's that
but
bad.
even that has been problematic, you can see. But before it wasn't even a thing. So consider we went from not being able to do it, or it always was a thing and they lied. I don't know. I see. The caseworker explained to me in 2019 that it had just changed, like within the year. So either the way she worded it to me was just because she didn't want to stress me out. She's like, by the way, you can always get your caseworker should have told you that. I don't know. But also, she should have told me that instead of just telling me what she told me. She should have said, did you know? You know, trying to get your records, you were supposed to have that. Your caseworker should have explained that to you, and I'm really sorry that happened to you, but I'd like to try to help you understand. So they should be doing, no, they're not giving legal advice, but still telling me I have rights, and that this is how you can access your records. Seems not like you giving me... Like, what I'm trying to say is, in the moment, I always knew the behavior was inappropriate, right? But it made me feel crazy that no one, like my brother, the way my brother treats me, he did it again yesterday, you guys. He's so mentally ill that he cannot comprehend that I have rights. Like, he's like, no, you really need to apply for Social Security. Rick, Why do you think anything in my life is your business? Why does he still not comprehend that he doesn't need to speak to me that way, and that's weird that he does speak to me that way? He doesn't need to be concerned about my life in any way.
Problematic for me with PTSD due to the sexual abuse history.
By the way, did I
like I tried to tell my mom, I already talked about it. My mom hit me in the face and told me to shut up and I'm a liar. And so, then it continued, of course.
We need your help behind the scenes to help move this shit. This is so bad. So remember when my nephew committed suicide August 28th? And now we're getting on to a year. It hasn't even been a year. Well, guess what happened with Hannah a month ago, or I think about a month ago? I guess, probably. I just want to document it now because I will forget. So, in California, not here in Douglas County,
she had to call the sheriff on
herself because she was feeling, because the situation with Peanut
I'm gonna go
just
ahead
getting
and say
another
this because
girlfriend
I
all of a
also want
sudden,
to encourage
right after her brother died, she moved all the way to California.
If you're feeling this way,
which I
Hannah
think
said the same thing. She herself
in my
has.
opinion, that
We
was
have
good for her,
to
but it turned out to be like stressful. Like she came back just to
go
fall in
seek
nerve.
help when we're feeling this way. If we do feel that
she had to sleep outside for a day because he locked her out, and she literally in California had to sleep on the steps of the place for a day overnight. That's when she finally came back here. When her dad she had to call her dad, get a plane or a bus ticket to come back here. And that's how she got back here, to her sister's house. She had to take a bus, and Dad paid for it. So, but at this time, Hannah had to call the police and have the police take her to a place to someone to talk to about not committing suicide in that moment.
Really appreciate.
And she didn't call me and tell me, which I'm disappointed about, obviously, and I told her I've since told her that. She's busy, though. She's dating, and I can't, I'd love to sit down and talk to her again about it, but she's busy, and she seems okay, and, But just for Rick to not realize that, dude, you have a daughter that just did that, and you think you need to talk to me about, I need to apply for Social Security. You need to not worry about, well, then you'll have to get a job, Nancy. It's like, Rick, you don't ever, what do you... We're dealing in Douglas County, you need to understand, this is where I'm at, and this is what I'm saying. It is so blatant now to me. Maybe not to anyone else or whatever, but to me, what I'm saying, from living in Eugene, I grew up in Douglas County my whole life, so you have to remember, I'm very familiar with the whole area, very familiar with how people behave. When Ashley said that, it wasn't like I didn't know what she was talking about. I kind of did, but it was like, I didn't see it the way I see it now at all. At all. And now that I've been through it, now that I've got all these recordings, I'm so fucking glad my phone started working and I was able to fucking document what I was able to get so people can see what I'm talking about.
I want you to, be aware for those that, I can help.
It just blows my mind. I just can't even, to have people,
doctorize and cross your T's with those people and record everything. And you'll probably be okay, but you're going to have to go that far.
Just rampantly evil, horrible. If anyone tries to be public, and tons of people in my account were public with me, guys, when I went through this, which I do appreciate, and I love everyone who watched me go through this fucking hell, but I'm glad to be able to at least share the records with these people, everyone, the whole county. That's what I'm doing it for. It is for everyone. It is. That was shocking to have to go through that, you guys, and to watch everybody watch it happen with me as it happened to me.
Which, that's not...
It's a little bit...
It was hard, but that's not their fault, of course, but
have to be that person
to be abused over and
was like publicly harassed and
predatory. You can see the timeline.
But just the feeling right now about Ashley and it being full circle and the whole time, it's like it's obviously real, but like how do you explain? I know that Prince Harry talked about it with his mom, when she died, like that feeling, that not being able to breathe. I totally could relate to what he was saying, like. But not really, because I cried my eyes out. So I can't go there. I did. I can't believe how much I cried. Even I can't believe it. So, especially because I did cry with Christopher, but you obviously, I'm telling you, which is sad to have to say this, but as I'm 45, yeah, you do get better with handling death. I don't think if it's like my kids, I'd ever handle that well. I probably won't. The odds, I don't know. That would be the one time. That would be the one situation where I would probably off myself. I don't, because
No. I always, when I hear people tell me that, I say, no, you won't. It'll be really hard, but you will We'll have to get through it. So I try to not.
Just to see the abuse within my family's behavior, and to see Christianity. These Trumpville in Douglas County, Trumpville, they're Christians, but look at how they attack and abuse their own family members and try to use the system against them. And it happened to Ashley. It happened to me. It's happened to Hannah, because I hear what the caseworkers are saying. You know, the recording where I confront that guy about being here when she's supposed to be exempt. And he's like, I'm here to do the work job. Well, that's kind of fucking weird, since she's supposed to be exempt. That you're at someone's house looking for her when she's supposed to be. Couldn't you pick up the phone and say, did you know you're exempt? This is what I mean about the caseworkers and why they think they're going to get away with this shit. Anyway, I'm going to have to, obviously
you do not need to go to someone's house looking for them.
To get this out.
Because
so
when someone was just here 2 weeks ago, that is predatory, false reporting.
And I'm going to keep
and
getting
when they say we don't communicate with other ones, yeah, wait until you see my next.
I'm not
wait
kidding.
till the one that's for next month.
And then I'm going to call around for
my favorite
Lake County, and then I'm going to call
soon.
Portland. I'm just going to see the type of answers I get, because I'm dead ass serious to see if I can, I'll be able to show a difference. This is just so. Why wouldn't someone want to take my case? Isn't in Roseburg. That's bizarre, right? It is, because I'm not a Trumper.
How bad it is.
I'm telling you. That is what I tried to say in the very beginning, I believe. It was like 2014 or something, and I'm like catching these sons of bitches. From 2014, it was more like 2015, I'd say, to 2017, I started getting really like, nothing made any fucking sense with the way these people were treating me. And neither did the police. And then I found out the thing about Jennifer Coker being the sister Christina works at the 911 call center. And then, it just...
And then Robin, maybe, also, I don't know.
Okay, cried a little bit, took a deep breath, I went and got coffee, got creamer for the coffee. So, what I'm going to be doing is, which I already planned to do anyways, but there's the list now of, I'm going to have to tell this may be an hour-long conversation with an officer, and I realize I don't know if that's possible, so... I don't know if I should take it. Maybe I should just ask the officer. Officer, would you prefer if I broke this down into chunks and then called back and talk to a different officer about a different...
think after
or would
my
you rather go from start to finish
what specifically, it'll be more clear to me what I need to ask him.
Tell him, look, I have a lot of questions coming at you right now, and... I said this. I'm going to even tell the officer, some of my intentions are pure. The children were abused. I'm trying to help see, officers did make mistakes. Yes, I'm angry, but this isn't about me being angry at an officer or anybody down there. Or Department of Human Services. This is about me trying to ask questions in good, this is a good faith. This isn't because I want to get into an officer, or I'm not trying to get ya. This is not I'm trying to get ya, nothing like that. I'm sincerely concerned about how kids could be getting abused. We're reporting it. My cousin Beth can't even get her own police record from having to go to jail right after winning her custody case because her ex called and said her son said she was choking him.
Yeah, so the predatory false reporting thing, you're going to be...
So she was completely...
It's like blatantly, obviously,
and there was no choke marks, and there was no...
To allow that to continue...
The same thing happened to me. The same thing, you know what I mean, in a different way. The amount of abuse that's happening to women is shockingly inappropriate, to the point where I'm concerned to wherever whatever I talk about with the officer, and all the documenting I'm doing, all of this is going to the governor's advocacy office to talk about human trafficking and possibly the FBI for a human trafficking case. That is how serious and how not...
That was a shit show. I think I proved that one.
So I'm going to break this down in my mind because, I have to, I'm just mentally talking it through, right? As I keep telling you guys, I realize that, and this is, maybe I should word it this way too. Can you imagine if people are breaking into my account and accessing my account, and creepy men like Raymond Brown who are mentally ill, who, has had a drug problem, who's clearly an addict, going to have those tendencies no matter what, who thinks he knows it, he doesn't have any business being in my business, and that is extremely inappropriate. So can you imagine the ways in which it would be putting me in danger and putting my life at risk? by doing certain things, which I've documented, which is why this case is so inappropriate. Like, the fact that there's so many women coming out of this agency, coming out of Douglas County with the same issue, you know, that's where the FBI, like, okay, so let's just start with records. So I already shared the law code here at X, with the Oregon law code for recording, you know, how they legally are required to record. So if that's a legal thing that the taxpayers are paying for, then that means the taxpayers are supposed to be accessing those records. And so for you to automatically have on a piece of paper, subpoena required, you're automatically saying that you're taking away my rights. It's never a good sign, ever. You're never doing any citizen any favors by taking away their rights and telling them they can't have the rights that they're already supposed to have. So your piece of paper that I'm printing off of your machine, off of your program over here, is inappropriate on the spot. There's supposed to be a price right there. It's not supposed to say subpoena required. So if everyone is getting the same piece of paper that I'm getting, or if I'm getting a different piece of paper, it doesn't matter. Either way, that's a significant sign of the case being this being a problem that's so inappropriate that we got to take this over to the FBI, because that would be unconstitutional. And people are harmed significantly by things like my parents being able to say what they want to say, so the officer writes down. Well, the only way I would know that my rights are being abused is if I had access to what they're saying. I can't sue them for defamation unless I have the video proving what they said was defamation.
Or I can't even file a report. It doesn't have to be a lawsuit. I could just file my own report about what I said based off that no, my dad is lying.
There's no such thing,
or whatever, because I know they go off and say really inappropriate stuff all the time. I mean, they just have no ability
I'm supposed to be told that to my face.
Not make
I'm
themselves
asking you
look
for a
like
price for the quote of the information I gave you. If you cannot give me a price, you need to tell me why you're not giving me a price for what I asked you for. And then you have to tell me everything specifically, because that's my right as a citizen and your job as a records keeper. If you're engaging
that I printed with what's her name, Ellen Rosenblum,
inappropriate behavior to the point where you can't tell me because you've engaged with lawyers to try to take away someone's human rights, or you've been involved
on that paperwork, the Department of Human Services, it doesn't matter what company, if they're working with anyone, all those records are supposed to be mine. They're never supposed to be withholding those records. And so for her to be like, it's my choice if I break the law. No, it's not, lady. You're going to get no.
This is so
You're being abusive. What you're doing is abusive. And the reason why you're not giving me the records is because it proves that you obstructed my case. You caused harm to me. You tampered with a witness. You tampered with records. You changed the outcome of my case. This is egregious. 10 years of egregious amount of criminal behavior by people in a position that are supposed to be preventing that from happening.
We have to go through a process in order for any of that to be legal. Whatever's happening right here is not legal, and it is so. This isn't a situation where I have to go to a lawyer and I say, lawyer, look. You know, do you see what, okay, let me try to say this better. Do you see what I'm saying about, there's no lawyer who's supposed to, no lawyers are supposed to be participating in a situation where they've decided in this county, we're going to, and the only way lawyers are going to get work around here is if we take their rights away and they got to hire us to, that ain't a thing. That would be removing every lawyer down there. The FBI would have to go down there and go, man, every license is yanked because you guys are participating in a human trafficking ring, because that would be a human trafficking ring. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That there's going to be some hell to pay. And I think that's going to be the lawyers within the Department of Human Services. They're going to be like, why are you criminally human trafficking victims? Why are you engaging in hate crime? This is hate crime behavior, and you're not supposed. If you're supposed to be helping the client, but you're busy helping the family members abuse your client, I mean, that is atrocious.
You know,
it's disturbing. It's depraved.
Britney Spears and what we're all seeing. No,
I can't wait to talk more about that.
Case. And we're all confused about how come this is happening in the media, and we're all seeing it, and there's not the FBI talking about a human trafficking case. That's human trafficking.
I'm shocked. I want to know, how Britney Spears' case has not been.
Homes and having to take extra, for the handicapped,
again, I can't wait for this next one
through that job.
I did.
Where I'm 100% aware that there's no such thing as you representing someone's rights. If you're legally entitled, you're having legal rights over someone, then you're 100% responsible for maintaining their health and their wealth and maintaining independence. It's always that you're supposed to be working towards independence. If this person has freedom of thought, if this person has the ability to say, I like chocolate milk,
you don't have the right to make decisions without their consent or knowledge. If they can speak and talk, what are you doing?
You don't have a legal right to go, I decided you're going to have, as an adult, and you have the freedom to make that decision, and you can legally use your brain. I'm going to decide what you're going to... That's not a thing. That's just called abuse. And that's called...
so not a thing?
You thinking you can do that to Brittany is human trafficking. Period. There's no world in which people go to a judge and say, by the way, I want to be responsible for this person, or by the way, I want to do it however I want to. You are legally required to provide certain types of, like this case, Brittany's case against the government in California and wherever it was, all of that is a 100% winning case. So I don't understand what I'm hearing from, like, somebody kind of needs to start explaining this, because this is looking very strongly like a very serious amount of human trafficking.
Yes, and now we're at, this is a couple months ago, now I'm like
are going to be losing their licenses for participating. I'm not saying that is, I'm not saying I know
now
that.
I am saying, I am now. I'm comfortable with saying it now. I've done enough research that I
how
see
illegal
that
and how unconstitutional and how many people will be damaged by something that's so blatantly, obviously not constitutional and illegal. You're telling me you don't have a reason. You have a reason already set up that I'm not allowed. I need a subpoena for these records that are supposed to be... Okay, let me do this one more time. So, I refilled my water cup. So let me explain this step by step. There's no logical... My mind... Okay, this is what I'm trying to say, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we're going to be at 2 hours with this one, too. Oh my God.
I don't believe anything's fucking real anymore. It doesn't look like Donald Trump's assassination attempt. To me, it looks fake as fuck.
I stand by that. To me, in my opinion, it looks super fake.
Because that is weird. Everything coming out of that is super fucking weird. And I cannot tell you... It kind of doesn't, it's like, it doesn't matter where you go with it. I'm on the side of winning no matter what. And it isn't about politics. This is about laws and logic. And my training. And anytime, if you've ever gone to an officer and said, officer, I would like for you to, take my daughter's rights away because I just decided she lives here, she shouldn't be, she hasn't had a job in, a while or whatever, and I just want, an officer can't then go, oh, okay, let me help you human traffic, your own. That's not a thing. The officer would have to say, ma'am, we don't, you can go to court and you can face your person in court, you can, that's not a, ma'am, we don't participate. We cannot influence your decision in something like that, ma'am. But I can tell you that, there are laws and people there's human trafficking laws. And, you could say stuff like that to someone who's approaching you in that way, who's clearly needs to be told, like, ma'am, it might be that you have inappropriate, you might be getting yourself into a legal battle you don't want, in the sense that if you in any way take custody of someone, as in you're saying they don't have abilities to do something, and then you make a decision that is not in their best interest, you are sued to hell for the rest. You are going to jail.
Especially if you lie to do it. And you never gave your victim an opportunity to prove that this person's a liar.
1 + 1 isn't equaling 2 at
or the
all
person responsible for making sure that doesn't happen, went and looked and found. That dude has no credibility, type of thing. That's the type, they're supposed to be...
It's like the Department of Human Services cyber-stalking me and telling me my post is inappropriate or whatever. It's like, lady, unless
they're not supposed to be doing that. Okay, Barbara Leathers told me they're not supposed to be taking reports about anything from the online.
Anything and having any influence. You don't have a right to take a report about it. Like, whatever they did in that part of my case, that is so fucking inappropriate. Like, it's shocking. That's what I'm saying. Okay, let me start again.
But I am at least venting and getting my anxiety out, which is, you can hear the anxiety, but it's...
Is Ashley, did she really die in that car accident? Did Christopher really shoot himself with a gun and really die? Did Hannah really call the police and have to go to a...
I don't even know what the hell's... My brain is
which is the right thing to do.
So mentally, like... I don't know what's true anymore. I honestly don't know.
I tried to do my best to help her through a little bit of that. Hopefully as an aunt I did. I
love those
Okay,
kids.
so if I'm I admit this can't be true, because if it's this bad, do you...
Right, that's this is so bad. What?
Do you know what I mean?
I think that's why my brain gets
there's no logic
sometimes
in
I'm
this.
like in disbelief.
There's no this is not logical. How is it possible? Like, especially when I have all this evidence, it's weird to me, the things I'm hearing out of Roseburg, it's just weird. Does anybody get the creeps? Does anybody get in a vibe that something super, like...
Predatory behavior. It is creepy.
Okay, so, let's just say everything's fake. And Hannah made up a lie just because her dad told her, oh, defamed me, and so I have a condition I don't have. That would be what having records would be for, like defamation.
Since people take everything out of context
I can also sue the police or anyone else who just took someone's word. Okay, you're not allowed to take someone's word.
My nieces are just wonderful.
Where's
Wonderful
the evidence?
mothers, they're wonderful nieces.
Now you're
wonderful. Wonderful people. I'm very blessed to have them in my life.
So I have the right to have these records. All I have to do is pay for it.
If I never become a grandma, obviously I'm sure I will, but
to do it within a timely manner.
I live a very satisfying, as a great auntie,
like to have them call me back and give me a price quote for what I sent in.
Kids.
We're not supposed to be getting into an argument about what you're just supposed to give me a price quote.
So this to me is harassment.
And then if you can't, you're supposed to be explaining to me in detail.
I don't need to be getting into an argument with any of these caseworkers about asking for my records. We're not supposed to be. I'm not supposed to be being exposed to that. That's just harassment.
You will get in trouble for that. You don't want it. What I'm saying is, that's not a thing. If they've been doing that, and that's what's really happening, that just makes my case 18,000 times stronger.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why, to me, logically moving forward with my lawsuit, there's no way in which I don't win.
This was a couple months ago.
If they're making shit up and causing this much, that just makes that. Then they're okay. So do you realize did you know that's actual harassment? Do you know what obstruction of justice is? Do you know that this is all wrapping back together to criminal behavior that is
not that I've gotten anywhere. I'm not in a safe space yet, but
no one's doing it. That's where talking to the governor's advocacy and the FBI about human trafficking. Because if you're going to sit there and pretend like you're not in a tax-paid position to provide a service when you're being, it's required of you, and for 10 years you're like, I don't have to do my job. I don't have to do my job. Oh, by the way, I don't have to, I don't have to explain anything to you. I don't have to.
They do, and they do talk to other cases. Just wait till my next one.
I'm trying to document abuse by these caseworkers that I've already proven now
nice healing thing for me to
was
go through
handled
again,
inappropriately.
too.
Do you see the full circle here? Do you see how that would hurt? That would circle back to a human trafficking case. Because these people wanted to talk to me about whatever I post on social media, which they have no right to have any
that is
right
harassment.
to know
It was harassment
anything.
for
if
them
to
coming
to them with a social
admit
media
to me that they're stalking my social media or engaging with someone that is.
If you want to report it, that's between you. But if
there's going to be a lot of questions about why why are you guys doing certain things?
You don't have a right to then try to use Department of Human Services
to when you ask those people to file a report when they cause harm to you, they will not do it. They will file a report and lie about you. That is what I found out. They never. And you got to watch it with the police too. You got to file your own paperwork because what I've discovered is these guys, and some of them I'm sure don't even do it on purpose. Like they're just careless. It's not, on purpose or whatever. But you're gonna want to always file your own report about what happened.
I almost get better results if I do.
With
you know
both
what I mean?
departments.
Or it's that, and I also am I can't believe what's happened around me. So it's I feel like I have to for my safety, for lots of reasons. But so I deleted all my pictures of my phone because when I called police officers pretty soon, the non-emergency, and asked questions. I just don't trust anything. I don't believe. Clearly, someone's been in my phone consistently, and I don't know
that I've got documentation where I know this is causing me extreme stress that this is being allowed to continue,
a case against someone else.
And that you know about it, and it's all based off false reporting, predatory false reporting, which makes it another kind of crime.
So, because I don't want to, my calling is sincere, and I don't feel like I'm ever treated dude, we're about to sue you, so you might want to take me serious. And I'm about to turn everything over to the governor's advocacy office in a very nice package.
The governor.
To show them, hey, which I don't really understand how this is going to go either. So maybe people are already aware, but I haven't had really good success. So my point, though, is to go in there and say, look, I'm about to sue all these people,
a big old mess
or I will already be in the process maybe by the time when I finally give them the records. So my point in doing that would be, I'm not here to just, I'm here because I'm disgusted.
If people would punish these people and actually go through it, I believe it would get better. They never do the part that they're legally required to do.
I also want you to have the records so you can change whatever it is you guys, you
a couple of those people need to be sitting in jail cells thinking about why they did all this to victims. They don't need to be there causing more harm to more families and more victims, more children getting harmed. They don't need to be in their position continuing to do that. I don't feel bad at all about putting them in jail where they can sit and think about the crimes they committed. Not even a little bit. In fact, I feel impelled that I need to make sure I do it because I need to help protect other children and families from this abuse.
So,
these people willing to do that. They don't need to be there no more. They don't need to work in that department. We need to be protected from them.
So I deleted it. Not having a temper. I'm not mad at a police officer or John Hanlon or, I still think he's really cute. I assume he's married. So I'm still interested. And what I learned, I say this. Okay, so again, keep in mind, for people who don't understand the joke, I'm always been a function this whole time that this guy's a married man. No, I'm not hitting on this man. I'm just asking for my services that I require, for the things I've already told you about. But anyway, it really is over the last couple of years that I've come, how do you explain it? Who I would be a match with, over the last couple of years I realized, and it really maybe isn't something I was open to just a couple of years ago is my point, or thought of a lot, I'm looking for a match, someone that, I'm looking for something real, genuine, a lot of people aren't, and that's okay too. That's my point in saying that. So, there's a match out there. I wish I could tell people on dating sites. Did I already say this? I don't know, but I wish I could type this, even though it would be pointless. But I wish I could say, guys, be whoever you are. Don't feel like you have to. I talk to enough women to know whatever it is you're doing right now, or whatever it is you're looking for. There's a woman out there looking for the same thing. Not everybody's going through phases in life, and we're all. Just be honest about who you are and what you're looking for, and you'll find women who are looking for that same thing. For me, I'm looking for a long-term and a genuine match, and I'm older, and I'm not looking to, I'm not looking to get divorced again, so it has to be, good. You know what I mean? A good match. For me to ever go down that road,
at least
is my
at
point.
This age, I appreciate that I know, I don't question, I know what I'm looking for, I know what I'm interested in, I know what I would never deal with. It's nice to be that self-aware, to be honest. It is
news articles and stuff, and just trying to read the situation, what the hell is going on. So it's taken me a while. At first I really did, I was intimidated. I didn't know what the hell because I knew the connection with Christina working in the 911 call center and the trouble I was having, and with Department of Human Services, it was scary for me. I was scared. I'm not thinking. I was afraid.
This abuse and this
very,
treatment
very, very peculiar and off about the behavior and the way I was being treated.
And PTSD.
And it made me very uncomfortable that I would ask for records, but not get a phone call back. Leave a message, not get a phone call back. Now, that repetition behavior to me was a red flag of something very inappropriate is happening to you. So I was just living in that world and not knowing how to express that to people, that looks like I'm being put in a dangerous situation by people who are tasked and tax paid, but tasked with protecting the community and using that position of power to abuse my rights again, and not help me. And anyway, so through all of this and through my TPS and my defund the police girl, has a lot of is the media really good at manipulating every good thing that could ever happen to turn it into shit so they can make money off the news media? Yep, yeah. Defund the police wasn't really about it. It's not about it's about everything gets defunded. To be offended by defund the police when they're defunding schools, they're defunding Social Security, they're defunding everything. You don't get to be offended because they're defunding the fire department, they're defunding everything. Budgets, they're stupidly giving tax breaks to rich people to defund all of it so that nothing's functioning properly, okay? So, it's not a world in which rich people should want to live in either, but, here we are. So, even though I'm that girl, this is not about anything like that. This is very sincere. I'm trying to express to this officer, if he's going to I'm going to be asking him, can you take my case, or is this something, if it's truly human trafficking, is that the FBI then that has? So for people who don't know how
we're getting there. This is all we have left, and then we're done with July.
And how brains
and I think I've already shared August, so September will be next. And it's a good one. I really like it. It's my favorite one.
Saying that over all of this process and having to be forced in a situation where you have to kind of get to know people to try to judge if these people are is this person trying to kill me? What is going on
there's been times where I'm like, what? This is... I don't know, you guys.
I realized I could see myself with someone.
People's
like
intention
him.
is they do want you.
And
I know,
I'm for that
Jennifer Coker told me about what my ex-husband said to her years ago. She told me he was...
A couple years ago, I might not have thought,
he was out to get me. He wanted me to die. He would do anything to cause harm. I mean, she said it was disturbing. And this was even 5 years later. She said, this guy still... And she was with him for 5 years. But then
I'm just an old person, and I realize people who are 45... like, a lot of the men I talk to on the dating sites, they're all about, like... Oh, God, I don't have the energy for, like, the egos and the... I'm exhausted, so I'm not looking for any, I'm not finding that I'm interested in many people, and I think it's just because, I need, a higher intelligence. I need to be able to have a conversation.
Yeah, I found out I do have,
and what some of these men don't realize, even though we're having conversations, they don't realize I can pick up on what they say that they're, top down to women.
Taller men,
so it's the reason I'm not interested is because you don't realize, you just told me a whole bunch of shit about yourself. You just
can I have a conversation with you? Are we...
It's not my job to babysit you or to mother you or to explain that to you.
A big deal to me.
So, there's also that. So anyway, through the whole process, at least I gained something about myself that I realize, I want a father figure for the kids. There's so many reasons I see, it doesn't mean that a guy who's 10 years younger than me isn't, if he's got the same personality, it doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means it's so rare. I don't think that's something that's gonna, and his options are going to be pretty open. So that's, it's not even a thought in my mind. It's, so one more thing I was going to say, and I didn't say yet, but I was planning to, and I just... So remember, I've been, telling you and describing to you why what I see in some of these shows is just a little bit are you kidding me? That's a repeating theme, number one. Anyway, we all know, we've already talked about this. There's nothing a person can technically do. It's legal. And some of it's good. I like it. Don't think I don't mean it. I do, some of it. So...
What are we talking about?
Okay, so the reason why I didn't bring this up yet is because I keep saying that I have, extremely good facial recognition. Well, that's super true. I do. And it's extremely bad name recognition. It takes me forever, even if it's, I'm just a white person. You can have the whitest name. It's not everybody has difficulty with things they're not familiar with, but, we've talked about this. But anyway, so... even when it's Shauna, I can't. It can be the whitest name. I have to. It takes. I don't know. It's just my brain. Anyway, so I already not here, but on my Facebook Messenger, where I documented one of my accounts, because you can talk there without. Anyway, okay. So I already described an incident I had, because I think I was talking about police incidences and ones I had that were good experience, and so I do have a memory of a police officer here in Drain. A sheriff had to come. Obviously, it would be a sheriff because that's how, that's where I live. So, Asia was a baby. Isaac would have been like 4 or 5. I don't remember if she was like 2 or if she was like a baby. So it could be either or. I don't, you know what I mean? And I had to call a police officer. And I'm pretty sure I might have used 911. I even think I described this as kind of, when you look back on it, it doesn't really make sense, but like, why did I call my husband? Well, anyway, so 2004, 5, 6 type of time, I mean, me having to call the sheriff because, our front door was like, it would just automatically lock. We had gotten a new door, and I did not like that door, and I did not have I just walked out like habit off my thing. I honestly think it was to go get Isaac up the school bus, maybe, who dropped him off at the end of the street, which you had to walk out there. I think could be the situation of what happened. I don't know. I don't feel like Isaac was there, though, but that could be just my memory thing, but the reason why I had to call the officer was because I got locked out, and our fence was locked, and it was completely locked down, and I know that's because, it's kind of like weird, but like we weren't doing anything wrong. It's just we were so used, I think, to being intruded upon that like by my mom and stuff, but that's kind of how it ended up being that way. It wasn't like because we were doing drugs or selling drugs, nothing like that, But when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, I can see how that might be. But anyway, so you know that, because why would I call an officer? Anyway, so this officer comes, and I'm so thankful our fence was 6 foot tall, and it's like a chain link fence, and so he hopped the fence, and I remember I was just like, well, obviously I could have done that, because I was telling him my back door is unlocked. If we can get it to the back door, we can get in. And so he hopped the fence for me and got in, and baby was probably in her packing place sleeping or something like that, and he come and opened the door. I had a poodle, Monte Cristo was his name. And he had to pull the gun on the dog, and the dog wasn't upset about that, because I know the dog is, he's a full-size poodle and kind of on the tougher looking side, thicker side, you would say. I mean, he's very protective, and so, as he should be, because he's a dog, he was doing his job, but the guy, I didn't blame, anyway, so the story goes that I did not blame the officer he did not shoot my dog, it was,
More rumors get started. You have to answer all these questions, right?
And so, now I never put 2 and 2 together. What if that's John Hanlon, you guys? I didn't. I
don't remember, for real.
It just dawned on me. Like,
the body type would be right, but of course, this was 20 years ago. Where was I at?
So this officer.
But I really don't remember.
I would have been 25,
and even with my facial recognition, it was just kind of like,
right. So I don't, it's not like I was thinking of, and I was a married woman with 2 babies, I wasn't having those type of thoughts. I was a very, in general, I wanted a happy marriage life and all that, so, it didn't work out,
I don't know why
I wanted it. I still want it, but look forward to it. But, so I'm just going to throw this out there so that people don't, are there more hidden jokes you guys don't know about that I might have made? Yeah. Will you get that now? Probably. Maybe. I don't know. But, so I had this white poodle, and I ended up rehoming him after that, though, because I realized the kids were little, and he was such a, I just didn't want it. He was a good dog, though, so I didn't sell him. I gave him to a lady that was a dog groomer, because I know you have a good home, and she lived out in the forest, and it was, more out of town rather than, it was just a really good situation for the dog and for the lady, and I was happy to do it, so he could have a good home, just because I was worried about if he would have bit one of the kids. I think he growled at one of the kids a few times, and it was like, you know what, I can't even handle you growling at my kids, because I can't, I knew a bite would be devastating from that dog, so, that's what I did, but I just, I was obviously very thankful for the officer, but I can see how the officer, I kept in general, the house could have been messy, that does happen, but in general, we kept a really clean home, so most likely, not necessarily, most likely he would have walked into like a really clean house, and, obviously we didn't do drugs or cell pills or nothing criminal. He just worked, and,
that I know of, on my end.
We weren't even people watched a lot of porn. We didn't even watch porn. You know what I mean? Like, there was only a couple times in our entire marriage where that kind of issue. I mean, we were just, anyway. My husband was a drinker, though. He drank, and I don't know about other people's issues, but that were around in my house. But anyway, yeah. So.
You want somebody like
okay,
ready for the fight,
back to work. So,
their asses back into place and make
I actually was really thinking about this, and I was really interested to hear what Kyle had to say here, because 52 minutes ago, Secular Talk, 8-minute video, Tim Walz unleashes brutal attack on Trump. So, excuse me, I say 4 pieces of watermelon, like half a piece. I guess it'd be like 2 regular pieces of watermelon. And some grapes, a little handful of grapes. Anyway.
I think that's how Walz would have handled it. Because so far, that's how he handled it.
So I saw the list of, like, some of the people. It was, like, the governor from Illinois, Josh Shapiro, governor from Illinois, what's his name? Pritzker?
That's not okay.
And then there was Tim Walz, there was...
You don't?
There's a couple more.
What kind of monster?
Oh, Pete Buttigieg, and...
We have fucking dollars for the military and endless war, but we don't have...
Anyway, so I did that. So I was like, oh, are those her 6 choices? Which I don't even know if that was real. Somebody just threw them out there, which, by the way, does, you know, that is the thought process. That's how you get the brain working. So I did think about it, and I was thinking Tim Walz, too. I was like, actually... And I know, you know, so I do this from a realistic, logical perspective, and goal-oriented. What are my goals, right? There are goal-oriented decisions. And what I decide, it doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just saying I do this because you are going to poop your pants at how often I am right. Which is, it creeps me out, too. Like, I don't know how anyway. So I was like, okay, that guy actually has the right look as far as, like, the people who think somewhat, which I know is dumb. It doesn't, reality is, that doesn't really save your life, people. You want someone who's smart, so, but people vote for looks. People vote for looks.
Tim Walz is smart. In fact, he was our favorite in that way, but he was also my favorite for
like, if I were to go by, like,
looks.
all
Unfortunately,
the
people do vote
reality
what
of the
you look
situation.
like, and that's,
I came up with Tim
consider
Walz,
that
too.
that's just the reality. You have to factor that in.
This is the most
winning candidate. I came out. I think what I'm saying is
are one degree or another of shitty on the issue of Israel, but he's particularly bad on the issue. Okay, so I don't want it to be Josh Shapiro. I really hope it's Tim Walz. And look, final point in this segment is this: Kamala needs Tim Walz, right? I'm expecting this election to have a lot of ups and downs. I am.
So, it should be pointed out to Kamala that I, myself, came up with the same exact thing he's saying in my own thoughts and process of who should it be, who's a winning ticket. We both came up with the same answer. So just throwing that out there, we both picked the same person.
Also says she won't ban fracking.
And for me, my thought process was winning ticket, not, I mean, I know it should be who's the best, obviously.
I want to win. We have to win. So I was like, this is your winner.
Kyle just said here, but
but Tim Walz is great too, by the way. It's not like I don't misunderstand me. He is so.
I was actually going by winning,
I'm not
voting.
disappointed.
Who are they going to vote for? Who will they vote for the most? Who's going to bring in the most? It was like my answer to me was Tim Walz too. Just throwing that out there.
Americans basically were, you know, living right, paying their taxes, productive, etc. I could live with some of those. What I can't live with is now I'm against Medicare for all. Why? Because it shows you're scared. It shows you actually don't have...
And that's such a winning ticket, too. That's not...
When Walz hears, oh, Republicans are attacking me because I did universal breakfast and lunch for kids at school, he's like, oh, yummy in my tummy. Yeah, motherfucker, I support that. You don't? You don't support that? What a freak you are. That's Walz's instinct.
Right.
Kamala's instinct is, do you still support Medicare, bro? Me, bro? I don't want to give everybody healthcare, bro. That's crazy, bro. That's far left stuff, bro. I don't agree with that, bro. It means you're scared of your own shadow when fighting these Republicans.
Right.
That's not okay.
Right.
The correct answer is, do you still support healthcare for everybody? Of course I support healthcare for everybody. You don't? Who wouldn't? What kind of monster wouldn't?
Exactly. Exactly.
We have fucking trillions of dollars for the military and endless war, but we don't have enough money to give health care to Americans? What are you, crazy?
9% battery, so it's a good thing we are done. July, this is the last one.
She does.
Well, I think I have to say things like, I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice, I'm not a police officer, it's not, don't, please don't, if you don't cause harm to anyone, don't, how are we supposed to say that? Don't, don't ever cause harm to anyone, even if I'm upset with them, or even if they did something criminal, or don't ever cause harm to anyone. If you're having thoughts like that, please get counseling. I highly recommend Dr. Romney, who's free online, but there's a lot of others. Find what you're saying.
That's a sign.
And know that it's okay to get help for those things. And we all get there. We all have days where we have had it to here.
70% popular.
So just seek help. I want to encourage others to reach out to someone in a loving way. Don't do things that it's never going to be helpful to do things without their consent or knowledge. You are not helping someone, you are harming someone, and you are abusive, and you are predatory, and you need to know that is what you're doing if you're engaging in things like that. So please don't do that. But otherwise, please do reach out to people in a loving way by trying to communicate with them, take them out to dinner. Those are nice things.
I hope so too, because
and again, I don't have a thing. What I can say too, I mostly do try to follow the rules for YouTube channel, but I'm sure I'm not perfect. So keep in mind, I'm not. There's the end. We did it. Yay. Keep in mind, I am not technically trying to have a channel with a show, like Kyle Kalinske has a show, or David Packman, or TYT, or whatever. I'm technically, what I care about in my work is putting the playlist together and getting the media into those. It's kind of like, what's her name? Katie Porter with the whiteboard. It's kind of like on that level. I need that all there for the whiteboard. I need what they've been doing, what they've been saying, because the lying was really, it's just out of control. So for me, that's the goal. And so these videos here are to assist others in this line of work, to assist FBI investigations, or investigations in general, to help other victims know, to heal, or to reach out for help, or what you can do, or even just to be aware. So just keep in mind, if I'm not trying to grow my channel, that I'm not it doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't have any desire to, that's not my goal. That's not I don't know if I'm even ever would want to do. I'm not saying I wouldn't. If it ever turns into that, that's fine, but that's not my goal. I don't care. If people take my stuff and chop it up and do all kinds of stuff, I don't care. I don't want you guys to be worried about me in that way. I mean, I should say, encourage people you can get in trouble. Don't do things that are illegal or harmful. Don't get yourself in trouble. But just keep in mind, in general, I'm not real sensitive. I don't really care. I hope if I can help and assist someone, that would make me feel wonderful. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, thank you for participating, and that was the end of July. Good night, everybody.